Well, this is Sky News. Coming up, churches in England open their doors with social distancing rules and some limits on singing. We'll get more after the break. Places of worship are welcoming parishioners once again this morning after the easing of lockdown restrictions, but they must adhere to social distancing, and new guidance includes limits on singing. Well, Sky's Sadia Chowdhury is in Walton-on-Thames on Surrey for us. Sadia.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like someone's about to get married here because lots of people are very smartly dressed, the sun's shining outside, and there's a lot of excitement. It is, of course, because this is the first time that churches are allowed to resume services of this type since the beginning of lockdown 3.5 months ago. And it's a big, big occasion, and you could be forgiven for wanting to make a song and a dance out of it, but singing is off the things that you can do now, part of these new government guidelines for places of worship, which include churches, mosques, temples and synagogues, a whole range of changes that are expected. Now, some of these you'll be already accustomed to, so things like masks, face masks and hand sanitizers and visors, a lot of social distancing also taking place, things that we already see in places like supermarkets and our workplaces. But then there are a few changes that will be peculiar to a place as communal as this, so you won't be able to hug other worshippers when you see them, unless of course they're members of your own family or your social bubble. The numbers of worshippers has also reduced, so this church would typically see about 300 worshippers come in on a Sunday, but now they're expecting just 100, and those people very carefully selected, pre-arranged, of course. One of the other things, of course, is that absence of singing, and that's very important to this particular church. And we can speak now to Pastor Chris Demetrio, who joins me. And you were telling me that the absence of singing, perhaps one of the hardest parts of all of this.
Absolutely. It's just so natural to come to church and to worship God and to sing. And a lot of pastors, a lot of ministers having problems with that at the moment, so they don't have services. But it dawned on me that there are 9 Hebrew words that are directly related to worship. And I checked them out, and we actually can do 5 of them and still comply fully to government guidelines. So I thought, well, we can still worship. It's fully acceptable to God and fully acceptable to the government. So here we are, having worship, but we can't sing. We'll do the other things that are permitted, and we're still going to worship God and have a wonderful time.
And Pastor Chris, recent surveys show that 1 in 20 people have turned to prayer during this pandemic. Are you surprised then that churches haven't been allowed to open any sooner?
Yes, I feel that the government did the right thing looking after the people, but I've been doing this for over 30 years, and we have a heart to care for the people as well, and people need prayer. We connect them to God, to the love of God, and that love needs to be kept alive, have the light switched on, and prayer just keeps fueling it. So, yeah, a bit disappointing, but I understand why. And we encourage people to pray at home. We had a prayer time at 7 o'clock every night, and we all pray together.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor Chris. I'm going to let you go because I know that the service is just about to start.
Thanks very much, Sadia. This is Sky News.
This weekend wasn't just about the hospitality sector. People have also been allowed to gather in places of worship for the first time in months.
It is a very big occasion. Being the first day back to church after the lockdown. I think it's about 3 months now or thereabout that we've not been here. So it was exciting news to know that the government has actually eased the lockdown for the church.
When the pastor said, we are going to do this, we have our procedures in place and we're ready. So yeah, I'm pleased.